Your dog is sitting at your feet right now, and you are about to do something you have done 100 times before. You reach for a piece of food. Something from your plate, something from the counter, something you have given them a dozen times because you looked it up once and someone said it was fine. You are trying to be a good owner. You are trying to give them something real instead of just kibble. And what nobody has ever told you is that some of the foods sitting in your kitchen right now, the ones labeled safe, the ones on every approved list, the ones your neighbor gives their dog every morning, are quietly doing damage you will not see until it is too late to undo. This is not about chocolate. You already know about chocolate. This is about the foods you are currently giving your dog without a second thought. The ones that have been sitting on the safe list for years. The ones that come with an asterisk nobody reads. There are 11 of them. And at least 2 of them are almost certainly in your dog's diet right now. Number 1 is the one most owners refuse to believe. Stay until the end, because the last item on this list is the one that will change how you look at your kitchen forever. Welcome to PAW'S Mind. If you are new here, subscribe right now because this channel goes deeper than the surface on everything your dog is actually experiencing. Let's get into it. Key principle. Why this matters. Before we go through the 11 foods, there is one thing you need to understand. Because without it, you will watch this video, feel a small wave of concern, and then go back to doing exactly what you were doing. Dogs are not small humans. Their metabolic pathways, their liver enzymes, the way their kidneys filter compounds, the way their gut processes certain sugars and alcohols, none of it works the same way yours does. A substance that your body neutralizes in 20 minutes can accumulate in your dog's system over weeks, building toward a threshold you will not know they have crossed until the symptoms appear. And by the time the symptoms appear, the damage is often not in the future. It is already done. The second thing you need to understand is that dose and frequency are everything. A single grape may do nothing to your dog. 20 grapes may trigger kidney failure. 1 unsalted almond may pass through without incident. A handful of almonds over 2 weeks may be silently stressing their liver. This is what makes the quiet toxins so dangerous. They do not announce themselves. They accumulate. Keep that in mind for everything that follows. Sign 1. Grapes and raisins. This one has been on the danger list for years, but it still lands in dog bowls across the world every single day. Usually from well-meaning owners who say, "My dog has had them before and was completely fine." Here is what is actually happening. Grape toxicity in dogs is one of the most unpredictable toxic reactions in veterinary medicine. Researchers have not yet isolated the exact compound responsible. What they do know, documented across hundreds of cases reviewed by the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Poison Control Center, is that grape and raisin ingestion is one of the leading causes of acute kidney failure in dogs. And the terrifying part is this. There is no established safe dose. Some dogs eat a full bunch and show no symptoms. Others go into renal failure after 3. There is no way to know in advance which dog yours is. What makes this worse is the raisin form. Raisins are dehydrated grapes, which means the toxic compound, whatever it is concentrated. A single small box of raisins contains the equivalent toxicity of several full bunches of grapes. Most owners dismiss this one because their dog ate grapes once and was fine. That logic only holds until it does not. If you have been giving your dog grapes or raisins as treats, stop today. And if your dog has consumed a significant amount recently, call your veterinarian before any symptoms appear. Early intervention is the difference between a treatment that works and one that arrives too late. Sign 2. Onions, garlic, and the entire allium family. This one sits in almost every savory food you make. Onions in the broth you pour over your dog's kibble. Garlic in the chicken you let them finish. Leeks in the soup your dog licked off the bowl. Every single one of them. The allium family, which includes onions, garlic, leeks, chives, and shallots, contains compounds called thiosulfates and disulfides. Your body processes these without issue. Your dog's body cannot. In dogs, these compounds attach to the hemoglobin in red blood cells and oxidize them, causing a condition called Heinz body anemia. The red blood cells essentially rupture from the inside. The body tries to compensate. The dog becomes pale, lethargic, and oxygen deprived. In serious cases, they require a blood transfusion. A study published in the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association documented cases of severe hemolytic anemia in dogs following repeated small exposures to onion and garlic in cooked food. Not large single exposures, but small repeated ones over time. The damage accumulated invisibly until it could not be hidden anymore. Garlic is approximately 5 times more potent per gram than onion. Garlic powder and onion powder are more concentrated than the raw versions. If you are adding broth to your dog's food, check the ingredients. Most commercial broths contain onion or garlic. Most owners have no idea. Sign 3. Xylitol in foods labeled as natural or sugar-free. Most dog owners know xylitol is dangerous. What most dog owners do not know is where it is actually hiding. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener found in sugar-free gum, which most owners know to keep away. But it is also found in peanut butter labeled natural or reduced sugar, in some brands of yogurt marketed as healthy, in certain vitamin supplements and chewable medications, in sugar-free baked goods, in some condiments, in certain brands of nut butter, and in products labeled keto or diabetic-friendly. The mechanism is brutal and fast. In humans, xylitol triggers a mild insulin response. In dogs, xylitol triggers a catastrophic insulin surge that can drop blood sugar to dangerous levels within 30 minutes of ingestion. This can cause seizures, loss of consciousness, and liver failure. The liver failure component can be delayed, appearing 24 to 72 hours after ingestion, long after the owner has stopped watching for symptoms. A review published in Topics in Companion Animal Medicine found that xylitol poisoning cases in dogs increased significantly year over year as the ingredient expanded into more food categories beyond chewing gum. The action step is specific. Before you give your dog any peanut butter, read the label. The word xylitol, sometimes listed as birch sugar, disqualifies the entire product. There are xylitol-free peanut butter brands available. That substitution takes 30 seconds to make and could prevent a medical emergency. Sign 4. Macadamia nuts. This one surprises people more than almost any other food on this list because macadamia nuts are expensive, considered a luxury food, and not something most people associate with dogs at all. But they make it onto this list because they are increasingly used in trail mixes, cookies, and granola products that owners share casually with their dogs. The toxic mechanism in macadamia nuts is, like grapes, not yet fully understood. What is documented is the clinical syndrome it produces. Dogs who have ingested macadamia nuts typically develop symptoms within 12 hours. Weakness in the hind legs, tremors, elevated body temperature, vomiting, and difficulty walking. In most cases, symptoms resolve within 48 hours with supportive care. But in dogs who also consume chocolate, the combination can be significantly more serious. The Journal of Veterinary Diagnostic Investigation has documented cases of macadamia toxicity in dogs at doses as low as 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. For a 20-pound dog, that is less than a small handful. The danger here is the casual sharing of trail mix or a granola bar corner while hiking. Your dog takes what you give them and trusts that you have thought about it. Sign 5. Avocado. Avocado sits in a complicated middle ground, which is exactly why it is dangerous. Some sources say the flesh is mostly safe. Some say it is toxic. The truth requires a more precise answer. Avocados contain a compound called persin. The concentration of persin is highest in the leaves, the skin, the pit, and the bark of the avocado tree. The flesh of a ripe avocado contains lower levels, which is why some dogs eat small amounts of avocado flesh without visible symptoms. But the pit is a severe hazard. First, it contains higher levels of persin. Second, it is a serious obstruction risk for any dog. A swallowed avocado pit can lodge in the esophagus, the stomach, or the intestine and require emergency surgical removal. Research reviewed by the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center classifies avocado as toxic to dogs, birds, rabbits, and horses, with particular concern about cardiac muscle damage in some species following significant exposure. The practical risk is the way avocado is used in modern cooking. Guacamole, avocado toast scraps, halved avocado bowls left on counters within reach of a dog who countersurfs. The pit, not the flesh, is the highest risk item. Keep it secured and dispose of it immediately. Sign 6. Nutmeg. This one appears in almost no conversation about dog safety, which is exactly why it belongs on this list. Nutmeg contains a compound called myristicin. In large amounts, myristicin is a hallucinogenic and toxic substance that causes a range of alarming symptoms in dogs. Disorientation, elevated heart rate, dry mouth, abdominal pain, and in serious cases, seizures. The risk is not a dog who eats nutmeg directly. It is a dog who eats food prepared with nutmeg. Pumpkin pie, eggnog, certain spiced cookies, apple-based baked goods with warm spice blends, any holiday food that has been prepared with nutmeg as an ingredient and then shared casually with the dog. A tablespoon of nutmeg is enough to cause serious toxicity in a medium-sized dog. The amounts used in baking are lower but not negligible, especially in a small dog or after repeated exposures. Behavioral researchers and veterinary toxicologists at the ASPCA note that nutmeg cases spike predictably during the holiday season, which is the same season owners are most likely to share food from the table. If you bake with nutmeg, do not share the product with your dog. Sign 7. Cooked bones. This one will generate the most pushback of anything on this list, because the image of a dog with a bone is one of the oldest images in the relationship between humans and dogs. Feels natural. Feels right. It is something you have probably done without a second thought. The danger is specific to cooked bones. Raw bones are harder and more flexible. Cooked bones become dry and brittle. When a dog chews a cooked bone, it does not bend. It splinters. And those splinters do not dissolve. They travel through the digestive system as sharp fragments capable of lacerating the esophagus, the stomach lining, and the intestinal wall on the way through. The American Veterinary Medical Association has issued repeated guidance against feeding dogs cooked bones of any kind. The documented risks include esophageal perforation, gastric perforation requiring emergency surgery, intestinal obstruction, and peritonitis, which is a life-threatening infection of the abdominal cavity. The dogs who suffer these injuries did not eat something rare. They ate something they had been given many times before. The injury is statistical, not guaranteed. It happens when the splinter lands the wrong way and punctures something it should not. You will not know which bone is that bone until it has already happened. Raw recreational bones from a reputable source are a different conversation. Cooked bones of any kind, including chicken bones, pork rib bones, and beef bones that have been boiled or baked, are a hazard that is not worth the risk. Sign 8. Salt in quantities higher than you think. Salt is not a food you add to your dog's bowl, but it is a food that accumulates in everything you share with them from yours. A few chips, a bit of salted popcorn, the corner of a pretzel, jerky, deli meat, saltine crackers, any of the dozens of salty snack foods that pass between human hands and dog mouths in the average household on the average day. Salt toxicity in dogs, called hypernatremia, occurs when sodium levels in the blood rise to the point where the body cannot compensate. The symptoms are specific and progressive. Excessive thirst, excessive urination, vomiting, diarrhea, and in serious cases, tremors, elevated body temperature, and seizures. A study published in the Journal of Veterinary Emergency and Critical Care documented cases of severe salt toxicity in dogs following what owners described as normal snack sharing. Not a dog who ate an entire bag of chips. Dogs who were given a consistent daily offering of salty foods over weeks. The threshold is lower than most owners expect. For a 15-pound dog, the toxic threshold for sodium is reached more quickly than you would think from a human perspective. Their kidneys are not built for the sodium load of a modern human diet. The individual snack may look harmless. The pattern over time is not. Sign 9. Citrus oil and citrus peel. Most owners know not to feed their dog a lemon. What most owners do not know is that the danger in citrus is concentrated in the peel and the oil, not the flesh. Citrus essential oils, present in the rinds of lemons, limes, oranges, and grapefruits, contain compounds called limonene and linalool that are toxic to dogs. Gastrointestinal upset is the most common presentation. But concentrated citrus oil, the kind used in some cleaning products, room sprays, and citrus-infused foods, can cause more serious central nervous system effects. The risk is not a dog eating a citrus fruit. The risk is a dog being cleaned with a citrus-based household cleaner and then licking their paws. A dog in a kitchen where citrus peel has been zested extensively and the oil is on the counter surfaces. A dog who is given orange slices with the pith and a fragment of peel attached. The flesh of a ripe orange in small amounts is not a serious concern for most dogs. The peel is a different substance entirely. If you use citrus-based cleaning products, rinse the surface your dog contacts before allowing access. If you are zesting citrus, wipe the counter. These are 30-second precautions. Sign 10. Raw yeast dough. This one has almost no visibility in the standard discussion of dog food safety, which is why it belongs here. If you bake bread at home and your dog has access to raw dough, you have a serious hazard in your kitchen that most pet safety guides never mention. Raw yeast dough, when ingested by a dog, continues to rise inside the warm, moist environment of the stomach. The expanding dough can cause gastric distension serious enough to compromise blood flow to the stomach wall. The same mechanism that causes bloat in dogs can be triggered by expanding dough. This is an emergency. Simultaneously, the yeast in the dough produces ethanol as a byproduct of fermentation. Alcohol toxicity in dogs is dose-dependent and rapid. A dog who has eaten a significant amount of raw yeast dough can show signs of alcohol intoxication within 30 to 60 minutes. Disorientation, weakness, slowed breathing, low blood pressure, and in serious cases, loss of consciousness. Research published in Veterinary Medicine and Science documents gastric dilatation and ethanol toxicosis from raw bread dough ingestion as a combined emergency requiring immediate veterinary intervention. If you bake with yeast, keep the dough entirely out of reach during the rising period. This means covered, elevated, and out of any space the dog can access. The dough that looks small when you set it down will not look small an hour later inside your dog. Sign 11. The one most owners never question. Grapes and chocolate and xylitol are on lists. People have heard of them. They are treated as known hazards. This one is treated as a health food. Onion and garlic already appeared on this list. What did not appear yet is the full scope of where they are hiding, because this is not just about the raw vegetables you can see. This is about the food you are probably reaching for right now specifically to be a good dog owner. Every single week, owners across the world visit the pet food aisle, read labels, look for limited ingredients, decide commercial kibble is not enough, and add something real to their dog's bowl. Broth, cooked food, homemade meals, things they believe are giving their dog a better life. And almost every broth you buy at a grocery store, every soup base, every cooking stock labeled natural, every packet of seasoning you have added to chicken before sharing it with your dog, contains onion powder or garlic powder or both. Not onion powder, which is 5 to 8 times more concentrated than fresh onion by weight. A teaspoon of onion powder contains the toxic equivalent of a full onion in terms of thiosulfate load on your dog's system. The owners who are most at risk from this are not the ones who feed their dogs junk. They are the ones who care the most. The ones who cook for their dogs. The ones who add broth to make the kibble more appealing. The ones who share their dinner because they want their dog to eat real food. A study in the Journal of Animal Physiology and Animal Nutrition documented progressive Heinz body anemia in dogs fed home-cooked diets where commercial broth was used as a base ingredient. The owners in those cases were feeding their dogs with genuine love and complete ignorance. So the next time you reach for the broth, turn the label over. Read every ingredient. Because the thing that is quietly hurting your dog is not something you are doing carelessly. It is something you are doing every single day with your whole heart, not knowing that the ingredient on the back of the package is slowly reducing the oxygen carrying capacity of your dog's blood one bowl at a time. That is not a bad owner. That is an owner who was never told. Now you know. Step back and look at all 11 together. Grapes and raisins with no established safe dose. Alliums hiding in every savory product you trust. Xylitol expanding into the foods you choose because you think they are healthier. Macadamia nuts in trail snacks shared without thought. Avocado pits within reach of curious dogs. Nutmeg in every holiday baked good. Cooked bones from the same plate you have eaten from for years. Salt accumulating in the daily handful of crackers. Citrus oils on surfaces your dog licks. rising yeast dough left to proof on a warm counter, and the broth you add every single morning to make their meal more real. None of these look like a crisis in the moment. None of them will announce themselves. They work quietly over time on a biological system that was never designed to process them. Your dog cannot read the label. They cannot cross-reference the ingredient against a toxicity database. They cannot tell you when something has been building in their system for 3 weeks. All they can do is trust that what you give them is safe. You are the only system between them and those 11 things. After today, you are a better one. If this video changed what you reach for in the kitchen, share it with someone whose dog eats from their plate. They deserve to know this before they find out the hard way. Subscribe to PAW'S Mind. We go this deep on dog health and behavior every single week, because understanding your dog is not just about training. It is about keeping them here, longer, healthier, and knowing that the life you built together was built on the right foundation. And before you go, if your dog has been refusing food lately, skipping meals, or eating less than usual, it is not always picky eating. There is a reason that goes deeper than appetite, and it is one most owners completely misread. That video is next.